Church, I don't know who to believe in this Lindsey versus Olajuwon story, but what I do know from experience is that there are usually three sides to every story. Your side, their side, and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. I got my notes, I hope y'all got yours. Let's get on into this damn mess. All right, y'all, so let's jump right on into first night sex. And the winner is nobody, okay? To me, it was a combination of I'm tired, or I didn't intend to have sex in the beginning, or number three, in the case of Alyssa and Chris, baby, you got to be in the same room for sex to even be a possibility, and that wasn't the case. So speaking of Alyssa and Chris, let's just jump right on into them. So apparently Alyssa decides not to tell the man the problem on camera. She decides to tell him off camera once he removes the cameras and the mics and the people and blah, blah, blah. So off camera, she tells the man that they quote unquote didn't vibe, okay? And I guess after a lengthy discussion, they decided they were going to just agree to have a good experience, whatever that means moving forward. This is my problem, okay? The married at first sight experiment is only 8 weeks. And y'all drop down in the comments, I think it's only 8 weeks that they have to decide whether or not they want to stay married or get a divorce or whatever. We don't have time for you to sugarcoat my feelings, okay? Get everything out on Front Street now or forever hold your peace and quit, okay? I don't even know if that's an option, if people can quit from the beginning. But listen, this whole thing of the cameras can't be there, the microphones can't be there, I need to tell you this thing off camera, and I'm just going to tell you that we didn't vibe. It does me a disservice because it literally tells me nothing, okay? Didn't vibe is not a good explanation for why you don't want to even try to be married to me or try to learn about me. And the thing that kills me about Alyssa is that she has let her own misconceptions or concept rather of what a husband should be to her, plus all the little tidbits that she's gleaned from the people peripheral to Chris, to cloud her judgment and make her not even want to move forward in forming an opinion for herself. And that's where the problem begins, and that's where it ends, right? And so if you've already made your decision on me without me even having any input, then where the hell can we go from there? So she says that they agreed to try to have a good experience. Once they sit down with the family, her family says give her a chance. She can be difficult, and she's pretty much quiet with his, and I guess just trying to preserve their feelings in the situation. But baby, once they find out that they're going off to Puerto Rico, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Alyssa says she's put in an effort. I just really feel, y'all, that Alyssa is not living in reality. Like wherever we are on Earth, Alyssa is in Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, somewhere up in the cosmos, somewhere else, right? Because if you've agreed to try and have a good experience with this man, you should at least try to spend some portion of time with him, okay? Whenever y'all are in a group setting, you walk right past him, you go converse with the other couples, you go do whatever activity it is, you leave him behind. You didn't even address the man at the damn airport when you touched down in Puerto Rico, okay? So I don't see how you feel that you are trying and you're trying to make an effort, because to me, the way you make an effort is by time spent, and you're trying to spend as little amount of time with this man as possible. Furthermore, you want to stay in a different room. Listen, baby, in the damn room that y'all will first put in Puerto Rico, there were 2 beds. I don't really see why you couldn't have slept in one bed and he couldn't have slept in the other one, okay? The fact that you needed to be in another room means to me that you need the divide to be so immense that there's no even possibility of you having to talk to this man when you don't want to, okay? And that standoffishness, it comes through the camera, it's apparent to him, and it's apparent to everyone watching that since you have this concept of this man that you can't get past, you don't even want to get to know him, okay? And the thing is, you said y'all could try to be friends. This is not even friend behavior, right? Like let's take the whole marriage and the whole concept of the wife out of it, and the wife and the husband, and trying to move forward with that. You're not even spending enough time to qualify as this man's friend, okay? At best, you're an acquaintance, okay? And a distant one at that. So I told y'all Alyssa was going to be our problem child. I think that that's true to form. If I were Chris, I did like how he said that if she would even give 1%, then I'm all in. I don't feel that she's giving any percent now, so I don't really see the point of moving forward other than the fact that the producers are trying to do TV right now. And that's a little bit of something that was like sticking in the back of my head, because Married at First Sight, people, please somebody tell me how Alyssa got past every single of the screening levels to get to this point. Like, there had to be some sort of screening question that said, what would you do if you're not attracted to your husband? Like, how do you work through conflict and stuff? And apparently, you know, Mama must have just been doing her best pageantry during the damn recruitment process, because it missed everybody, and now she's on the show and not wanting to participate. So, like I said before, I don't have any faith for this couple, but if y'all want to do TV, clearly, if the recruiting people and the damn producers want to do TV by still having Alyssa on the show, then I guess we'll watch and see this train wreck unfold. Moving forward to Jasmina and Michael. So Jasmina is hung up on Michael being a pessimist. Baby, this is not even a problem, okay? It's only a problem if this man is like the super pessimist and everything is always rain and gloom. Just to tell y'all a little bit about me, baby, I'm a pessimist, okay? I'm always pleasantly surprised when things go my way. So the fact that he's a pessimist, I don't really think much of it. You just can't pair a pessimist with another pessimist. I think the fact that he's a pessimist and she's an optimist is the ideal scenario, right? Because one person is rooted in reality and the other person is rooted in, you know, this beautiful view of society, this beautiful view of life, that things will go their way. And I feel like their characteristics can rub off on each other in a positive way, right? So I don't really think it's a problem. And if it is a problem for her, I think it's something that they can definitely work through. But baby, the bigger issue to me is that she's never dated someone in the same state, and she always does long distance relationships. To me, this is a red flag like no other, right? You cannot tell me that in the area of Boston, there is not at least one person that she could vibe with, she could create a relationship with, she could have an ongoing connection with. The fact that you go to neighboring states or find someone halfway across the country to have a relationship with, to me, it puts you at a disadvantage in the beginning, right? And it sort of reminded me of my own dating life, because I have a tendency, or I've had a tendency, to pick people that I wouldn't normally date on the regular, so that I wouldn't have to have the conversation later about combining lives, being serious, you know, being committed together, and figuring out how it looks as us being a couple going forward, right? So I'm wondering, you know, my pessimistic side, my realist side, is wondering if she picks people that are unavailable physically as a way to not have to combine lives down the road, right? Like, you intentionally pick people that are not going to work out because you don't have any intentions in having a worthwhile relationship going forward. So just a different perspective for you all. I'm not calling that over Jasmina, but it really did put off a light in the back of my head when I heard her say that she was always dating long distance people. So hopefully it's just because nobody in Boston has what she needs, but if it's not, then I think that it's definitely something that should be investigated a bit further. Moving on to Steve and Noi, who were pretty much my favorite couple this episode, y'all, because their families are so ridiculously shady that it made for such good TV. Now let's get on into this. Steve's dad calls him a vagabond. Okay, now when I tell, let's just pause here for a second. Y'all, when I tell y'all that my jaw hit the ground when I heard vagabond, because I said, what kind of old-timey word is vagabond? So I tootsie rolled on down to Merriam-Webster Dictionary to find out what a vagabond was. And it said it's essentially a person who moves from place to place and has no job. Essentially a transient, okay? Now, baby, when your own daddy is calling you a vagabond, honey, it got to be true, okay? So that was the shade from the Himalayas to start us off, right? Okay. Then Steve sits down with Noi's family, and Noi's mom says, if you want to have kids, you have to have a job first. And I'm actually going to come to Steve's defense a little bit, surprisingly, right? So, unpopular opinion. I don't have a problem with Steve being a freelance person. I really don't. From being in the work world or being in corporate America for 9 years and walking away from it, I just have this different perspective in terms of, the work world and what it means to, make money, take care of yourself, XYZ, right? They always say, or there's a saying rather, that Americans live to work, and people in the European countries, France, etc., they work so that they can live, right? So I think the big unknown in the situation is how much, Steve makes, right? Because there's two different types of freelancers, right? There's the freelancer that just makes enough to cover whatever their general bills are so that they can, live okay. And then there are freelancers that only work part-time in the year, but that income from where they work part-time sustains them throughout the year, right? So I think we first have to have a basis of how much this man makes if he's able to pay his bills, and what's the income disparity between the two of them before we can make an informed decision, right? Just to tell y'all a quick story, I have a cousin that basically only works 3 to 4 months out of the year, like the whole tax period. He's a tax accountant, right? Only works 3 to 4 months out of the year. And he makes enough during those 3 to 4 months to sustain him through the rest of the year because tax season is so big. So I'm not saying that, Steve is a tax accountant, because it said before he was a sales engineer, and I don't know how much sales engineers make. Y'all will have to drop down the comments and let me know. But I'm just saying, until we know how much this man makes, I think it's unfair to say that, he needs to have a steady 9 to 5 in order to be a worthwhile contributor to this relationship. I thought that was a little bit out of place. So we'll see. Now let's spend a moment on Noy's brother's alter ego, Sriracha, y'all. So being part of the LGBT plus community sort of gives me a third eye to sense certain things, and I knew I felt something in my spirit and my soul when I saw Noy's brother the prior episode when he was at the wedding and stuff. You can sometimes tell when something runs deep with somebody, okay? So I actually think that, when Mama came out with a full beat face, some makeup, and a wig, I think it actually was a brilliant move, right? Because number one, it assessed Steve's comfortability with it, right? And then number two, because it had that element of surprise with it, to me, it lowered his defenses and made him more vulnerable and open to answer the question. So I actually thought it was a very brilliant move. And baby, apparently everyone in Noy's family got an alter ego, because Noy got Noisy. Her brother, whose name escapes me, has this Sriracha character. So listen, live and let live and go from there. Moving forward, Mark and Lindsey. Not much to say about them, just from the couple's interaction and sitting down from the families, but I did note that they bonded over their mom issues, which I've said before. I think that that's, one of the main reasons, or one of the important reasons that they were matched, right? Because Lindsey doesn't have a very good relationship with her mom, whereas Mark takes care of his mom, and she's really important to him, but there's some strain there because, he's in the position to be like a caretaker of his mom, right? So I feel like they can definitely bond on those issues, and those are the issues that will unite them. But I did like how Lindsey's family basically told Mark, give her a snack and don't be afraid to tell her no. I think that those are the perfect, things to give Mark as a tidbit of how to operate with Lindsey, okay? Because listen, there is nothing like being hangry, okay? And if you can just slide her a kind bar and maybe she'll mellow out, I think that that's a great thing to do. And I think that because she has such a big personality and all this bravado and just all this personality, being able to be told no and being able to be put in her place, and not in a bad way, right? Like not in a sort of like domineering macho way, but just being able to check her in a constructive way as her husband is a good thing, right? So telling her no is more so being able to reel her in, right? Because she can go all over the place. You need to bring her down to earth sometimes. So I thought that was really, really good. And in terms of Katina and Olajuwon, y'all, apparently Olajuwon was not rubbing the damn her friends or family well at the damn sit-down dinner. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the question that was asked to him was like, why are you here? Why did you sign up for Married at First Sight? And he said in so many words that he's not a bad looking guy. He has no trouble with the ladies. He just wants to try something different. This is the problem that I have with Olajuwon, okay? As I told y'all before, his aesthetic screams fuckboy, right? But he says through his own admission that his mental has changed, right? He's elevated to a newer plane of thinking, okay? The problem is that his words have not matched his new way of thinking yet, right? So listen, it's almost like when you get plastic surgery, but you don't change your way of eating, right? So you're gonna be right back down to the plastic surgeon's office, quick, fast, in a hurry. It's the same thing here, okay? If you have a new mental state and you have a new mental, awakening in terms of what you want in your life, that you want something committed and you want to go forward with that, you need to have the speech that matches your new mindset. And I think that, just because of nerves or just being caught off guard or just being in the moment, that he probably just made some missteps in terms of words. I'm going to try to come to his defense this time, because to me, one time is a fluke, twice is a pattern, okay? So I think that, he was just a little bit nervous and he just said things, and because her friends and family were so in tune to her and trying to make sure that this was a good match, they analyzed everything he said. So I hope that his mind and his mouth will catch up on the same playing field, because, I won't be as forgiving the next time if this behavior sort of continues, right? Like I said, one time is a fluke, twice is a pattern. All right, y'all, so now let's get into this Olajuwon and Lindsey fight. Now, let me preface this by saying that since we're at a disadvantage, since the Married at First Sight cameras were not rolling during this time, everything I say henceforth, that's a legal term for y'all, is conjecture, okay? Because we're working at a disadvantage. Now, let's just start with the baseline of what allegedly has happened, right? So apparently they were on the plane. Lindsey Tootsie rolled on up to Olajuwon's section, Olajuwon and Katina section, and asked if Olajuwon could speak Spanish. Olajuwon says, I speak a little bit, but not that much. Then apparently Lindsey says, no, since we're going to Puerto Rico, like, you have to speak the language, like, you have to, it's their native language, you have to speak it, blah, blah, blah. I guess Olajuwon was like in a joking way and stuff. He said, no, I don't speak it, blah, blah, blah. And Lindsey apparently, became more aggressive, decided that she wanted to irk him, said she wanted to fight him, blah, blah, blah. And it sort of escalated from there, right? That's the baseline in terms of how I understood it from the Olajuwon perspective, okay? The problem in the situation, y'all, is that Lindsey tell a different story. And I guess it's not too concerning, because like I said at the beginning of the video, y'all, there's always three sides to every story. Your side, their side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? So, Lindsey apparently claims that Olajuwon was the aggressor in the situation. She said he was posturing, he was acting like he was about to fight her, and so she said in a joking manner, oh, what, you're gonna fight me? And then it escalated from there on the Lindsey side, right? So Olajuwon is saying that Lindsey was the aggressor, Lindsey is saying that Olajuwon is the aggressor, and we sort of have to make our determination from there, right? So I guess Mark didn't get involved in the altercation at all. It was just between Lindsey, Olajuwon, and Katina. Olajuwon pretty much said something to the effect of, you need to go and mind the business that you're married to. Your husband over there, like, go tell him about speaking Spanish, Puerto Rican, or, the native language in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And apparently words were exchanged, and in the heat of the moment, there was a divide, split between the group. Now, I'm actually, y'all, more inclined to believe the Olajuwon Katina side, and I'll say why in a moment. But just speaking on the Lindsey side, like, we need to analyze a couple of things, okay? As you all know, Lindsey has a very big personality. She's very boisterous. There's a lot of bravado there. Like, she speaks loud, she speaks aggressive, blah, blah, blah. Before they even got on the plane, Mama had the takeover spirit. Mama had the know-it-all spirit when it came to Puerto Rico, right? She was telling Mark that she had been there 11 times. She had been all up and down Puerto Rico. She knew it like the back of her hand, and was trying to tell him what to do there and what not to do there. So the takeover, know-it-all spirit was already upon her, right? On top of her normal demeanor, right? So they just added fuel to the fire. Now, just because Mark can deal with her personality because he's married to her and they're equally yoked per the experts, does not mean that her personality can transfer over to other people and they will take it in the same way. People are the sum total of their life's experiences, and every single way that you are or the way that you approach situations is not going to transfer over to everyone else, right? And so the thing that bothers me about Lindsey's side of the story is that she became literally the complete opposite of everything she has purported to be so far, right? After the altercation on the plane, Mama became meek, mild, traumatized, okay? Said she was suffering from PTSD. She can't hang around the other couples. She's sequestered by herself. She's locking herself up in the damn, hotel room. She on the balcony crying, claiming that it's triggering, traumatic experiences from before when men would talk to her aggressively and stuff. So the fact that there was such a stark difference in her personality leads me to believe one of two things. Either you're truly traumatized, it really triggers something deeply within you, or you're trying to show yourself in the best light because you did not fare the best in the altercation, right? So I don't know how much of this is the real Lindsey or how much of this is her doing TV or having a completely different concept of what the actual argument was or how it went. So that bothers me. Whenever someone has a stark flip to who they purport to be, and there was nothing traumatic or that serious to affect that kind of change in them, it throws up red flags in the back of my head because it almost seems like she's trying to do TV and she's trying to show herself in the best light, and she's running with the narrative of, I'm not going to make this a race thing, whatever, but she's running with the narrative of the man being domineering over her because that's, more palatable and that's what will gain people's favor and get people on her side. So I'm not saying that's what she's doing. I'm just saying that in my opinion, the stark difference in her personality between when she got on the plane and when she got off leads me to believe that, I think she was trying to show herself in the best light. Now on to the Katina and Olajuwon side, y'all. I'm more inclined to believe their side for the mere fact that Katina was on Olajuwon's side. Now, y'all may say, that's that man's wife. She's supposed to be on his side. Yes and no. She's his wife, but she has not known him very long, right? And the mere fact that she was on his side when we know her to be a very, reasonable, a very ethical, a very patient person, a very level-headed person from what we've seen so far gives credence and it gives credibility to Olajuwon's sequence of events, right? The fact that she's saying that this lady crossed the boundary, that she was trying to fight them, that she was trying to irk them, the fact that she had the same perception of the situation as he did leads me to believe that they have the winning side in this argument, right? The fact that she saw it the same way that he did when she hasn't really known him that long in order to blindly follow him, right? So y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what you think. Are you team Lindsey or are you team Olajuwon, right? I think another thing we need to note though is that apparently Katina can hold a grudge, y'all. Now, I'm not going to say anything because, in the past, I have been known to hold grudges, so it can happen. And I'm sure a lot of you out there, have had situations in your life where you've held grudges. But I did like how Olajuwon was sort of like a good peacemaker in the sense where he told her, listen, if I'm trying to get over this or I'm getting past it, you need to get over it too, because you holding on to this will only create conflict down the road because you'll already be on ready for whenever she says something down the road, and that's not effective for any of the parties involved. I did also like the fact that Mark played mediator and peacemaker on his end, because you can't have two people that are both rah in the relationship. You can have one rah person, and you need to have the other person that's more level-headed and calm. And I thought he did exactly what he was supposed to do in that situation, which is understand both sides and try to figure out a way for both parties to move forward. So do I think that this is the end of the conflict? Absolutely not. But I feel like they put a good enough button on it until they all get together, and then eventually it's going to have to be hashed out. So I think that's all I really want to say on this episode, y'all. So if you liked what I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media at DatDamnDasher. And until next time, y'all, learn to respect people's boundaries, because everything that you are and every way that you act does not transfer over to everybody. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.